So namaste to all. Namaste.
Pranam Maharaj.
Namaste. So if someone is ready to fry one's gray matter, so get ready for that.
We are ready, Maharaj.
Okay. Okay. We'll start with our prayer. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Vangme manasi pratishthita manu me vachi pratishthhitam aviravirmayedhi vedasya ma'ani isthah shrutam me ma prahasirani nadhite nahoratran sandadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu bhaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. So we are studying Panchdashi. We are in 6th chapter. We have done up to 24. And now we'll start from 25th. We have studied Anyonya Adhyas, mutual superimposition. The question was why we cannot understand what is God, what is Brahman, what is our real nature. So this was the question. But then last time we talked about that though we don't understand, but we feel, and also we know that it is our real nature, Brahman or Supreme Self. I am Atma, Brahma. This Atman is Brahman. Even Shruti says so. So even if we don't understand, we cannot logically understand, but our real nature is Brahman. So, and secondly, there are only that alone exists. Neha nanasti kinchana. Here there are not many. Ekam eva advayam. So this unification, if we can understand, then nothing like it. But we have rationality. We want to understand things. So that is why all the scriptures or this kind of scriptures are existing. So without more introductory notes, let us go ahead. I am jivaha na kutastham vivinakti kadachana anadir avivikwayam mula vidya iti gamyatam. So why we don't understand, that was the question. So previously what we have understood, that anyonadhyasa, the Supreme Being is being reflected in this limited reflecting matter we call intellect, buddhi. And we identify with this body-mind complex, and that is called ego, ahamkara. So because it is reflecting, it is animating. See, I'm talking. But when it is animating, by this reflection, we cannot understand what is the reality. For example, we see sun. Sun is illuminating everything. Say moon. Sun is illuminating moon also. Does moon reveal what is sun? No. But it has also a kind of reflection on it. Say, like this light is falling on my face and it is shining, or whatever you say, whether it is shining or not shining. But this shine also reflects in the origin. The example I have given, sun and moon. Anything, say, whatever shine, even we can see shining, moon is shining. If we can see, that means it is falling on sun also. But because it is reflected rays, those are reflected rays, those rays cannot shine sun because that's not complete. And sun is self-effulgent. Similarly, this real self, when it is being reflected in this body-mind complex, then it's shining, it's animating, doing all sorts of things. Why it is happening? It's because of ego and then all kinds of thinking, emotion, etc., etc. But this shine cannot reveal what is the origin, though it is anyodhyasa. So why it is unknown, why this point was brought? Because this adhyasa is lower and not powerful enough to reveal the reality. And reflected rays cannot reveal the original. So that was now why this is happening? This is the question. So this shloka is written. I am jivaha na kutastha bibinakti. It cannot separate. Jivaha kutastham na vibinakti. Because it cannot separate. Because it has no revealing power. Therefore, kadachanam is never. Anadihi aviveko. This is called anadi aviveka. Aviveka means there is no power to separate, segregate, discriminate. And this is anadi. When it started, nobody knows. It's like a pot was there. First, there was no pot. It's called ghata bhava. Absence of a pot. So absence of a pot, when it started, nobody knows. That's why it is anadi. When pot was created, so it is pratiyogi. That means it destroys the absence of ghata. So when ghata, that means pot, is made, the absence of pot is destroyed. So absence of ghata, absence of pot is anadi. When it started, nobody knows. So pradhvangsha bhava, it is called pradhvangsha bhava. Okay, so I am jivaha na kutastham vibinakti kadachana. Anadi. So anadi is explained. When it started, nobody knows. Can you tell me when your dream started? Last night? Because the concept of time is also in that frame. So in that concept of time frame, you cannot compare when it started. Similarly, when we are conceiving, we have concept of time here. So with this concept, we cannot measure or we cannot fathom. We cannot go beyond this. So that's called anadi. Aviveka. Aviveka means this is non-discrimination. is beginningless. So, under the delusion of mutual superimposition, the jiva cannot discriminate and realize that he is not jiva but kutastha. So, this is simple. We are kutastha, but somehow we identify with our jivatva. I am jiva. I live. My name is this, and I am limited. Alpatva, kshudratva, and ajnana. I do not know. I'm small. How can I think I'm the all-pervading? So this obstruction comes because of avidya, aviveka, non-discrimination. Let me read it again. Under the delusion of mutual superimposition, the jiva cannot discriminate and realize that he is not a jiva but kutastha. Kutastha means anvil. Anvil means that which never changes. That means the supreme being. So I am that. This non-discrimination is beginningless and is known as the primal nescience, avidya. Avidya has got two powers, as we know. One is covering power, one is deflecting or projecting power. Avaran vidya and avarana shakti and vikshepa shakti. It covers and then it shows something else. And we also have this idea that atasmin tad buddhi. What it is not, it looks like that. When we see a rope, but because of non-discriminating state of our mind, we see a snake. Or we see water on road on a summer, say, afternoon, because roads are hot, and then because of refraction, it shows like it is water there, but it is not water. So this, what it is not, but it shows, that is called avidya. Now there are mula avidya. There are two kinds of avidya, mula avidya and tula avidya. And mula avidya also, there are two kinds, karya vidya and karana. Karya means when it is in action, and karana means causal, when it is causing something. So it is, what is caused is hidden, but when it is translated into action, it is visible. Visible means perceptible. And then karya avidya also, four kinds. What are those? Like whatever is anatma, we think it is atma. Like this body is anatma, but we think it is atma. See, it is moving, it is digesting food, and it's acting like jiva. So this, what is anatma, we think it is atma. And what is anitya, we think it is nitya. That means what is non-eternal, we think that it is eternal. And whatever is miserable, we think it is full of joy. So this confusion, and then ashuchi, whatever is ashuchi, what impure, we think it is pure. So these are the four karya avidya. Avidya in action. Avidya means non-discrimination in action. This is what we see. So, mula avidya iti gamyatam. Under the delusion of mutual superimposition, the jiva cannot discriminate and realize that he is not jiva but kutastha. This non-discrimination is beginningless and is known as the primal nescience. Now, Vikshepa Avritti Rupabhyam Dvidha Vidya Vyavasthita. Vikshepa and uh, Vikshepa and that projection. Avarana. Avarana and Vikshepa. Covering and projecting. So, Didha Avidya Vyavasthita. This is ordained. Nabhati Nasti Kutastha Ityapada Apadanam Avrittihi. Okay, now he's describing. Nescience or avidya has two functions. Avarana or the power to conceal, and vikshepa or the power to project. The power of avarana creates such ideas as kutastha, shines not nor exists. So this kutastha, now what is happening? Because it has covered, avidya has covered our real self, and it is showing that it is not real self. It's immortal. His body will die, even mind changes. So we are not kutastha, we are jivas. So this is because of avidya. Now in this, it's like maya, yama, what it is not. But maya here, see why it is happening. It is not a magic. It is not a magic, but this is power of God. Says Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durattaya. It is Devi, it is divine power. Divine power, but one is revealing as many. One, say within you, within me, within everyone, it is the same self. But still it looks like we are all different. So this is happening because of this power, what is called Maya. And it is not magic. So magic, there is no logic behind. Of course, in Maya also there is no logic. Why it is happening? There is no logic. But this is the power. How that indivisible is being projected as divisible. So this is, we have to understand it. This is because of our non-understanding, avidya. That's why avidya. Non-discriminate, power of non-discrimination. So this is because of that we are experiencing this. So what is the way then? We must awaken our power of discrimination. Though I am seeing many, but in fact, I am not many, I am one. And instead of hating anyone, I must love all. So this understanding will lead us to that unity. So let us go forward. Nescience or avidya has two functions. That means avarana and power of concealment, and vikshepa or power of projection. The power of avarana creates such ideas as kutastha shines not, nor exists. Now we go to the next. Any question when it comes, you can go forward. Otherwise, then we'll move forward. Agyani vidusha pushtaha prishtaha kutaस्थम न प्रबुद्धते नभाति नास्ति कूटस्थ iti buddhva vadatyapi. If a wise man asks why it is being said, because we see, this is our experience. You ask a common man, who are you? Everybody will say, I'm such and such, and I'm not much educated. I'm small. I don't know much. Kshudratva, ignorant man, about Kutastha, he replies, there is no such thing as Kutastha. It does not manifest nor exist. Thus he feels and says. Nowadays also, like, there is doubt whether God is there or not there. So this is not new. Right from the beginning, some people always believe there is something. And other people would believe, no, there is nothing. Whatever is seen or experienced, that is all. So if a wise man asks an ignorant that, agyani vidusha prishtaha, kutastham na prabuddhate, nasti, nabhati, nasti, kutastha iti vidva vadadyapi. Now we go to the next. Swaprakashe kuto avidya, tam vina kathamavritihi, इत्यादि तर्क जालानि स्वानुभूतिर ग्रसत्यसौ. Now opponent will ask, this is the beauty of Vedanta literature. There, the possible questions are raised and answered. So, the opponent may raise such questions as, how did the self-luminous Kutastha come to have ignorance? This question is very simple and commonsensical. When you are saying I am Kutastha, and there is only one truth, and in this shrine everything is shining. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. When this shines, everything shines, and I am that. And you are at the same time you are saying you are under avidya, ignorance, this non-discrimination. How it is possible? Now, answer is also given here. Though we say that I am alpagyatva, how we say that? I know small. Why? Because I understand there is enormous knowledge. So at the same time, we feel that I do not know that much. But there is higher knowledge or higher status where knowledge is full. So this idea, see, like, if you want to make a line bigger than another, how can you do? You have to just stress that line. So to find our limitedness, we have the conception of unlimitedness. And this is inherent within us. The opponent may raise such questions as, how did the self-luminous Kutastha come to have ignorance? And without it, how could there be obscuring? So Kutastha is self-luminous. How it is? Then it is like in dark. It's not self-luminous. It is like borrowed shine is it is shining with borrowed shine. So how can one have ignorance? And without it, how could there be obscuring? Such arguments are falsified by one's direct experience. Say, though we see people are dying, why we think that we are not going to die? Because our real nature is such, it never dies. That is why nobody thinks that he is going to die, he or she is going to die. So this is inherent within us. Now, let me read this note also. The questions presuppose ignorance, which is avidya. How and why? Now, what is this? when we are asking this question, where? When we are in the domain of this avidya. It is like this. You are dreaming. In your dream, you are asking question, why this dream has come? So you cannot ask that why and how and where from when you are immersed in it. Swamiji, that's why he said, if anyone can ask me logical question, then I can answer. But this is not logical. Why it is not logical? Because we are thinking that something is beyond this time. Something is beyond this desha kala. And even this logic is within the domain of this avidya. So logic, time, space, everything within the domain of this avidya. How can you get answer when we are already within merged in it? Say if someone is drunkard and he cannot conceive or think properly. Therefore, he cannot ask logical question. So this is like that. The question presupposes ignorance, which is avidya. How and why are products of avidya? They relate to causation, which is one of the creations of avidya. See, causation, this causation is also creation of avidya. Moreover, the effect of avidya is not recognized, not recognizing the immutable consciousness in oneself is actually experienced. So it is useless to argue that its existence is impossible. Now let us go forward. Sanubhuta, Sanubhut, Avishwase. स्वानुभूतो अविश्वासे तर्कस्य अप्यनवस्थितेः कथं वा तार्किकं मन्यः तत्त्वनिश्चयम् आप्नुयात् स्वानुभूतो अविश्वासे तर्कस्य अपि अनवस्थितेः तार्किकं मन्यः तत्त्वनिश्चय कथं वा आप्नुयात्. So if one disbelieves one's own experience, and since logic is not final, see, this is another thing. Logic is within the domain of this avidya. Secondly, our intellect is not pure. It is with full of falsity and foibles. Even logic itself. Many things we cannot conceive with this logic. So the instrument is like this. I have eyes, but my eyes are defective. I correct it by the specs. Similarly, our intellect is also not pure. When this intellect is purified in all its desires and emotions, all this is removed, then Sri Ramakrishna says, Shuddha Buddhi, Shuddha Atman, Shuddha Man is the same thing. So when it is purified, then it becomes one. But as of now, it is not purified. And any instrument is not, you cannot reveal what is being revealed by it. The instrument only reveals what is objectified. But here, the subject, how subject can be revealed by instrument? It cannot. So number one, even logic is not logic in reality. Why? Because this karya karana cause and its effect. This is conceived in the domain of avidya. And it cannot conceive which is beyond it. So anyway, we go forward. If one disbelieves one's own experience, and since logic is not final, how can one know the truth about anything by mere reasoning? So by mere reasoning, one cannot understand and one cannot know what is the truth. Like you can see this way. Why I said this? In a courtroom, you can see one pleader, one lawyer comes and argues his case. And it is very convincing. And then another lawyer comes and he argues against it. And that also looks convincing. This happened. One lawyer was supposed to save his client. So he was arguing, but he was under booze. So he started arguing, and then the judge pointed out, Mr. Bose, what you are arguing, I think you are here to defend your client, right? But you are arguing against it. No, my lord, I was arguing what my learned opponent might say. Now you see, now I discard all those. So this happens. Our logic is so sharp. That's why by logic we cannot come to a conclusion. Anyway, if one disbelieves one's own experience, so what is there? We have our own experience that we are immortal within us. And another thing what we can understand, that this cannot be obliterated. If you want to stop it, you cannot stop. It will cry from within to reveal itself. So this is our own experience. So if one disbelieves one's own experience, and since logic is not final, how can one know the truth about anything by mere reasoning? If it is argued that no reliance can be placed on self-experience, then how can a logician arrive at a correct conclusion? So now this buddhyarohaya tarkaschet apeksheta tathasati. Like this. In India, Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishta they are arguing for about more than 1,000 years. Still it is going on. But now it is, of course, more or less it is concluded. But those who do not believe, you cannot convince them. They argue against it. The chief function of reasoning is to explain things clearly. One should employ logic following one's own experience and not misuse it. So we are also using logic. We are using logic against logic. Why? Logic is not sufficient because it is within the domain of avidya. So this is also logic. So we are using logic against logic. Why? Because we have that little experience. So that experience is that's based on me, and then argue this. So the chief function of reasoning is to explain things clearly. One should employ logic following one's own experience and not misuse it. That is why, even judges, what they believe. Do you have a witness? And then he is called. Then then the question are asked. So when he says, yes, I saw this happened, then only judge believes. Otherwise, he will say, not enough evidence, and case is discarded or dismissed. The superiority of experience over reasoning, which may twist things, is being stressed here. Now, स्वानुभूतिः अविद्यायाम् आवृत्त्यो च प्रदर्शिता यतः कूटस्थ चैतन्यम अविरोधी इति तर्क्यताम्. Swanubhuti. So that we do have experience of ignorance, that we do have experience of ignorance. We experience. I do not know. I'm small. This idea is that also we experience. And its obscuring power has already been shown. So rather argue that Kutastha and Niscience are not contradictory. So it is not contradictory, it can absorb itself. So here Kutastha is living. In that, avidya is also living. So it is not contradictory. It can stay together. That is all the lila is happening. Okay. Swanubhuti avidyayam avrito cha pradarshita atah kutastha chaitanyam avirodhi iti tarkitam. So now, kutastha can coexist with ignorance, which obscures it as the rays of the sun, though obscured, do pass through muddy water. No one can deny simultaneously that he is both conscious and ignorant. So we are that. We are admixture. Yeah.
It seems that he is contradicting Gaudapada.
No. That's ultimate. No, it's not contradictory. We have to go gradually.
Okay. But it seemed that way.
You see, this is the process. That's a PhD. And we are in kindergarten. So like he's lifting us gradually. Okay. Now, there he'll tell why he's saying this. Gradually he'll say.
Fire burning out.
Yeah. So tacha virodhi, if kutastha were contradictory to ignorance and its obscuring power, then who is the experiencer of this obscuring? Gradually, you have to give time. If kutastha were contradictory to ignorance and its obscuring power, then who is the experiencer of this obscuring? So it is not that this avidya is not totally obscuring, but it is showing something else. As of now, I am kutastha, I am the supreme being. At the same time, I have a knowledge of, I am Swami Chandrasekharanand. So this idea is happening because of its presence. In its presence, so it's not totally obscuring. It is, we are conscious being, but at the same time, we have this idea of limitation. So both are happening. He'll give examples. If kutastha were contradictory to ignorance and its obscuring power, then who is the experiencer of this obscuring? So that self is there. Self is experiencing. It is the discriminating knowledge which is contradictory to ignorance. So then what is the contradictory power? Contradictory power is discrimination. When we discriminate, then we can discard this aviveka, non-discriminating power. With the discrimination, see, like how we see, it is not a snake, it is a rope. Because we bring a light, in that light we see, oh, this is only a rope, not a snake. Or when we see water on road and we go closer, there is no water. So how we discriminate? We know this is, mirage, it happens. This discriminating power negates that projecting power, projection of things. So discriminating power is against ignorance, against avivek, against nescience, but not against the kutastha. It can coexist there. But as soon as and when discriminating power comes, then it has no other way but to leave. Okay. If kutastha were contradictory to ignorance and its obscuring power, then who is the experiencer of the obscuring? It is the discriminating knowledge which is the contradictory to ignorance, as is seen in the knower of truth. Because for him, there is no world. Neh nanasti kinchana. For him, all are one. Shunichaiva swapake cha pandita samadarshina. He sees everywhere it's the same self. Even when Sri Ramakrishna blessed all the devotees on 1st of January, then people saw Sri Ramakrishna everywhere. Sri Ramakrishna everywhere. And when Sri Ramakrishna asked Sharat Maharaj, not that day, previously, he said, what do you want? What is your ideal? He said, I want to see God in all being. Sri Ramakrishna, what are you saying? There is the ultimate. He said, I cannot be satisfied with less than that. So this is, we are to see that. It is the same self is shining through all being, the whole existence. Okay. That is it. What is it that cannot coexist with ignorance or avidya? It is knowledge or viveka, which distinguishes reality from illusion. Knowledge of reality is relative, pure consciousness is absolute. Projection. So knowledge of reality is relative. Pure consciousness is absolute. So there is no, not this logical knowledge. It is self-illuminating. Projection of an illusory appearance on reality, that is attributing erroneously the properties of predicates of one object to another, or simply mistaking one thing for another, is called superimposition or vikshepa, anyonyo adhyasa. On kutastha, or the portion of all pervading consciousness, the conception of the gross and the subtle bodies, accompanied by buddhi, rests. Anyway, I can skip this. We have understood that. Otherwise, you may say maybe bored. Avidya abrita kutasthe deha dvaya sutachiti. Avidya abrita kutasthe deha dvaya yuta chitihi. Shukto rupya avadhyasta vikshepadhyasa evahi. One kutastha covered over by the concealing power of ignorance are projected or superimposed the subtle and gross bodies, thus producing the chidabhasa. So chidabhasa now. Now chidabhasa means what? Like this light is shining on me. So what is that? On kutastha, covered over by the concealing power. See, like example was given, just remember that a space in a pitcher, when water is poured, what happened? That space of pitcher was taken over by water as it were, but still it is there. So as if it is taken like that, the kutastha covered over by the concealing power of ignorance are projected or superimpose the subtle and gross bodies, thus producing the chidabhasa. Chidabhasa means the consciousness is reflected. So when consciousness, and when it is alone, there is no creation. But when it is projected on something, that's called chidabhasa. Then that is like jiva. So here also, like you can see, this is jiva. We all are jivas. So it is with reflection of that consciousness. It is like the superimposition of silver on a mother of pearl. This is called projection or vikshepa. So vikshepa means it is showing something else what it is not. Vikshepa. So one is avarana. So kutastha is covered. We don't feel that I am that same self. What do we feel? Very small. Why we feel? Because the kutastha is covered, my real self is covered, but it has little of that prabha, that illumination. By that we think something else, that is my jivatva. So this is because of superimposition of something else. So jivat. When we mistake a nacre or mother of pearl for a piece of silver, so this is well known. When we see something and we imagine something else, that is superimposition. Now, idam amshascha satyatvam shuktiga rupya ikshati swayamatvam vastuta chaivam vikshepe vikshati anyagam. In the illusion, this is silver. The pearl oyster shell is the thing perceived and is real. But by an error, these notions, that means thisness and its reality, are transferred to the imaginary silver. So one is asti and bhati. Asti, bhati, something is existing. Bhati, something is shining. So how we identify something as silver, though it is a only shell? So existence and that illuminating power comes. Why it comes? Because of some proximity of qualities. The silver also shining and the shell is also shining. So because of that, we mistake. We take something for something else. So in the illusion, this is silver. The pearl oyster shell is the thing perceived and is real, but by an error, these notions, that means thisness, this is its existence and its reality, that it is real, are transferred to the imaginary silver. In the same way, the ideas of self and existence which belongs to kutastha are transferred to the jiva through the error caused by nescience. So in this world, this logic, what is the logic? That this similarity, like why we see a rope, a snake, because there is some similarity of rope and snake. So with this logic, taking the help of that logic, it projects, as it were, to something else. We go to the next. Nila Prishtha Trikonatvam Yatha Shukto Tirohitam Asangananda Andatadevam Kutasthe Api Tirohitam. As the blue exterior and triangular form of the mother of pearl are lost to the vision, so the non-tactility and blissness of Kutastha are obscured by superimposition. So this is the extension of the same thing, the blue exterior. So we can take another example. Like we see sky. It is like reverse pan. But there is no reverse pan like this. We see sky. So why it happens? Because we cannot see beyond. It is impossible to see by this instrument in totality. Therefore, we have our own conception. So, as the blue exterior or triangular form of the mother of pearl are lost to the vision, so the non-tactility and blissness, so non-tactility means unmoving. This self is unmoving. And blissness, that joy, inherent joy of Kutastha, are obscured. So it is hidden. Even in this also, in this body also, we suffer. Why we suffer? Though we are full of bliss, but when we identify with our body or mind, then we suffer. So this identification is the cause of suffering. So when Mother, Holy Mother, told to people, some companions, they were sitting and she asked what one should ask from God. So people said discrimination and dispassion, etc., etc. Mother said nirvasana. Nirvasana means not to seek anything, not to hanker anything, not to desire anything. Why not to desire? Because all these are objects. It has limited power. It cannot satisfy you. And depending totally on God. So nirvasana, desirelessness, that is to be asked. So here, so why we are suffering? Because we want many things. We desire so many things. That is why we suffer. Otherwise, we are blissful. So this achal, what is achal? Achal means what is not moving. Asanga anandoyam. Asanga, I am detached. I am full of bliss. But what happens because of proximity and because of my desires to get hold of many things and hold them comes suffering. So it is to cover a real self and project something else. Nila Prishtha Trikonatvam Yatha Shukto Tirahitam. So Asangananda. So as the example is given, as the Nila Prishtha is covered and it looked like silver, similarly, I am unattached, full of joy, ananda. Taddevam kutasthapi tirohitam. So, similarly, from this kutas that is hidden, to get rid of all desires, then it is full blazed joy, unhampered joy. Okay. So, brain is fried. Akshay?
Yeah.
So brain should be healthy. Okay.
That was
Mark?
such a beautiful answer the Holy Mother did.
Yeah. Mark? Good, namaste. David, are you sleeping?
It's the Taittiriya Upanishad, the sheaths and the
You know, in the beginning, that is also required. If you don't have things to eat, even you cannot think of God. So physical needs are also required. So Upanishad is very practical. And that was, how it developed. We can trace its evolution. Right? So everything is required. Even, Sri Ramakrishna, what Sri Ramakrishna said. When you are living, even you need that masalas, for seasoning. That also is required.
Swami.
Eh?
Was it Shankara who came up with the analogy of the Avarana and Vikshipta? Was that Shankara's invention?
What's say it again?
Avarana and Vikshipta?
No. I mean, this is in tradition. Who discovered, who knows? We got it, that's enough.
Ishvara.
Yes, Steve is saying Ishvara.
So it was mentioned prior to Vivekachanamani then.
Eh?
So these two qualities of Vikshipta
Okay.
and Avarana were mentioned before Vivekachanamani?
The thing is, even Shankaracharya says, I have received from my gurus. It's tradition. All our acharyas said this. They are not originator. They honored their gurus. Only thing, he put it logically. Swami Vivekananda also did not present something new, but his presentation was excellent. That was new. And it is, understandable by us. Otherwise, if you read even Shankaracharya, so difficult to understand. But very good, At least they have done it, refined it. For 1,000 years they have fought, but they refined it so well, so nice. We are so fortunate. Even this Panchdashi is also.
Even,
Huh?
even you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, see, because he came later, right? He came later. Previously, they used to fight with Buddhists.
Here too, Swami.
Uh-huh.
He fights with the Buddhists a little here too, Swami.
And this
No,
anatta,
don't go off where there's nothing. Don't be a nihilist.
yeah, anatta, Buddhists say there is no atta, atma. There is no self. It is all absence.
ভিউটা এখন সাবমিট করছি
So, Shankaracharya had to argue in their own phrases. Anyway, we are fortunate.
মহারাজ এগুলো সব বোঝা যায় but Taittiriya Upanishad it goes over my head. I don't
No.
understand anything.
Taittiriya Upanishad, the evolution, how it happened. So,
Who wrote this? Who wrote
nobody
the
wrote. It was revealed.
nobody wrote.
Yeah, it was revealed, and teachers taught to their disciples. And then their disciples. Writing was done much later. But previously it was Shruti. It is heard.
Shruti.
Okay. ঠিক আছে. Thank you very much.
Pranam.
Akshay,
Yeah.
keep your questions ready. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Swami, then,
Yes.
then in keeping with tradition, we should argue vehemently.
No. Argument, it's not like brute argument. Vada. There are four kinds of Vada, then Jalpa, Vitanda. It's like to say defeat someone, not like that. It is to present your own view and show the falsity. Like nowadays, science is doing the similar thing. Like it is not that to discard anybody, rather to show the falsity of it. So khandana mandana. Khandana means discarding, and then you have to establish your own theory. So that's it. It's a vada. You just imagine Shankaracharya opponent, and Ubhay Bharati is the judge, and her husband was arguing for, and she had to decide. So it is, and what was the stake? Stake was whosoever will be defeated will accept others' ashrama. That means if Shankara would have been defeated, he would have taken Grihastha ashrama, would marry and have children. So it is a big thing, And Ubhay Bharati was judge. So it is not a joke, but it is logical. It is sharp logic. And then they show falsity. Even, this Kumbh Mela, I saw a video, they were arguing like this. Kumbh Mela.
Maharaj, did Ubhay Bharati died after this argument was over? Did she
No.
sacrifice herself? No.
Shankaracharya said, Mother, you come. You be our mother. Shankaracharya accepted her.
Oh.
And she took care of them, sannyasis.
Mm.
She was great erudite scholar. It's
Yeah.
not ordinary. So Saraswati herself, how can Shankaracharya discard her? And how she should depart from the scenario? This is all Leela.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Jai Ma.
Talking about Saraswati, tomorrow is Saraswati Puja.
Yeah, tomorrow is Saraswati Puja.
Yeah.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tatsat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma
Yeah.
Swami.
Jai Ma. Who is Omkar? James. Oh, James.